Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand. Welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Tuesday, April 2, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We're having a time for change call tomorrow night, around 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be talking about the galaxy. We're going to be talking about this solar system. We're going to be talking about this planet and the immediate planets within our vicinity, since the solar system has over 160 planets, both on the physical and astral plane. When I grip the wheel too tight, I find I lose control. Steve Rapson. Most of us grip the wheel too tight, and we end up losing control. And our mind is always thinking. That's its job. Its job is to think 24/7 forever. It's always planning and pretending, hoping and wishing, pondering and probing, dreaming and scheming, and yearning for more. Basically, 99.99% of the time, our mind is busy capturing data, processing and assimilating, creating new information. It's extremely occupied trying to make sense of all this data and learn what it needs to know so you can become, do, and have whatever you desire. The mind is necessary for all of us to have an experience in this body. It is vital for our survival. Yet it doesn't know how to stop thinking and discover a permanent state of bliss within. It is an awe-inspiring analyzing machine that functions a lot like a computer. And guess where computers came from? Guess where the quantum computer came from? Guess where all computers came from? The human brain, the mind. Now, it can process, assimilate, and imagine anything if given enough time. You could even figure out Einstein's mathematical equations to space-time if you had a few decades and a burning desire. And yet, with all its amazing power, there is one thing that the mind cannot provide for any of us, and that is everlasting inner peace. The mind is useless when it comes to discovering the eternal spiritual source of joy, love, and satisfaction, which is always at our core. You know, we are all of these things, and yet we're on this hunt outside of ourselves. And we doubt, fear, question, and we don't have 100% faith, trust, and confidence in ourselves nor the universe. And we doubt many things. We doubt ourselves. The really interesting thing about this mind that we all have is that it only exists in the past or the future. Where do we suffer? Where do we start to worry, stress, and fear, anxiety? Where? Either in yesterday or tomorrow. I think we'll all agree with that. It only knows yesterday and tomorrow. That's it. It only knows yesterday and tomorrow. It simply cannot exist in the now, where peace resides. It spends all of its time in the future or the past. The mind is incapable of remaining in a state of peace because all its yearning, striving, and efforting to arrive there just creates more feeling of lacking peacefulness. It is always trying to get somewhere other than here, now. You ever notice that? It is always wondering what's going to happen next or processing what has just happened. Now, it's a dare, maybe. We dare you to try to keep your mind present in the now for this moment. Do it. Just for a few moments right now. Let the mind reside only in the now and see what happens. Only in the now. Even for a few moments. What did you notice? Did life suddenly become more peaceful? You may have caught a glimpse at the crazy life that manifests from living in a mind that is continuously obsessed with past and future. All day long, all year long, all lifetime long. And with the mind in charge, we're never going to find peace. None of us will. The mind never stops to rest in the now because it would lose its job. It operates from the perspective that the now is not okay in some way, and thus it must always improve or change it. This is the exact opposite of the energy of inner peace, which stems from a deep knowing that everything is always perfect in this entire universe in this simple, sweet moment. Have you ever wondered what your life would be like if you were truly free from the mind? What would even one day be like for you? Imagine that day is today. Birds are singing, the breeze is blowing. You're able to hear, smell, and feel the beauty of it all. Of course, you could hear what the mind was saying if you paid attention to it. Yet you choose instead to observe it, not get caught in its entangling dramas. Being the divine witness, watching it all from a higher perspective, you find peace by dropping the mind. True peace is a state of no mind. True peace is a state of no mind. You can either choose peace or mind. And peace of mind occurs only when there is no mind. Now, to some, this would be very confusing. Wouldn't make any sense to them. It is absolutely essential to know your mind so that you can transcend it. We all need to understand how to let go of our mind so that we can find peace in any moment of our life. Now, so you can start with trusting the process of letting it go. Trust that you are on the path to finding total freedom from the constant chit-chat in the mind. This choice is the first step on an infinite journey. The second step is knowing that your mind is connected to an infinite divine intelligence, that it is always leading you towards enlightenment, even if it doesn't look that way. Imagine what it feels like to be free from your past, future, all your desires, inhibitions, fears, doubts, worries, and expectations. And yes, imagination is employing the mind, of course. Yet what other tool do we have to use to free ourselves from its grasp on you? So keep imagining what it feels like to infinitely dive into a permanent feeling of freedom. Once you can imagine this, hold this thought for several minutes. The real deal will soon follow and find you. Ultimately, we need to use the mind to drop the mind. To find total freedom in this life, the mind has to step down from its pedestal and get out of our way. Yet, Who's going to coax it to step down? You are. And this decision to choose freedom over everything is the key. You'll soon find something amazing inside you when the mind surrenders and you turn inwards towards the divine spirit that you already are. So relax. Bask in the light of this eternal, peaceful experience of pure being. Once you realize that this is available in each millisecond, following your daily mind chatter is the last thing you're drawn to do. The mind is awfully interesting. And yet, the major block on the way to finding true freedom. We could say, instead of awfully interesting, we could say wonderfully interesting. And yet the major block in the way is to finding true freedom is the mind. When you drop all of your attachments to it, you begin awakening to a much bigger reality that goes beyond the walls of what is inside and outside yourself. When you deeply realize that who you are is not your mind, nor your thoughts, nor your emotions, nor your body, then the awakening process begins. Start with finding the silence between each thought, the space between ideas. Speaks to you in a way that goes beyond what can be spoken. By listening to this gap between words, this ordinary life suddenly becomes very profound and meaningful. It is only in this space of silence you will find total freedom and the constant flowing river of peacefulness. You can see that the mind cannot exist in silence. The mind cannot exist in the spacious infinite universe that is everywhere now. If you want to rid yourself of the constant struggle of thoughts and negative emotions in your life, keep surrendering to this silence. Once you find this silence, the mind relaxes. You discover the foundation of your very being. Once you confine yourself to this present moment, core, essential foundation, presence, essential foundational presence, your entire life is instantly healed and enlightened. Eventually, all of us will choose to master the mind. Even when the cacophony of your mind feels almost deafening, this silence of pure beingness continues to permeate everything. The more you allow your mind to quiet, the more you can tap into this ever-deepening, peaceful energy that is your true nature. We are naturally this vast, calm reservoir of silence. Even when our mind causes ripples in the surface of this lake, the stillness at the core of our being is never touched. When the mind disappears into the profound silence of the now moment, you also will discover that you don't really exist. The personality construct fades into the background, merging with the millions of other ideas. You soon will begin to know yourself as the profound silence. Realize you are this infinite, timeless essence that is always present, no matter what crazy thoughts abound. It's the gap between our thoughts. I practice that every morning and night. You spend as much time that you can every morning when you wake up, every evening before you sleep, diving into the gap between your thoughts. Rest deeply into the silence you'll find between each word. Simply close your eyes, focus on the space that exists between each thought. Notice that in this space between your thoughts, there is only pure consciousness. Relax into this consciousness. If your mind gets busy, which it will, this space will be a very tight, small gap. Gently return to relaxing the body and diving into the space again and again and again. Keep diving into these tiny spaces. Eventually the mind will slow down and the space will expand. You will one day find this amazing ultimate freedom from the mind. Keep surrendering to the process. It is a big one. And know that the result is an ultimate freedom from all suffering that will make the rest of your life a deep, eternal, living bliss. Our biggest, for these bodies, let's say that it's the ego mind, okay? That brings us into believing in stress. So it's the yesterday and tomorrow where the ego mind resides, where the ego mind masters the majority of the people on this planet, if not everyone, to a certain extent. Sum total. Every tomorrow has two handles. We can take hold of it with the handle of anxiety or the handle of faith. Henry Ward Beecher. That's true. That's a choice that we make. But you got to be aware of it. If you're not aware of it, how in the heck can you choose? If you believe that it is just it's the way part of life is. How many of us think about that? How many of us actually contemplate? Am I living in my ego mind or am I living in my heart mind? Is this an ego thought or is this a heart mind thought? We've got all the tools. We've got way beyond all the tools. Yet we've never opened the tool drawer. It's like somebody might say, you walk into a garage and wow, look at all these chests. Look at all these tool chests. Wow, you got a lot of tools. And they open one of the drawers and they go, these have never been used. That's like the majority of us. So have you ever met a stress-free being? Somebody that's... They're ordinary people, like you. Yet they've adopted a variety of different ways of seeing, interpreting, and understanding this world that allows them to fully live in this world, yet not get caught in its drama. What's happening right now on this planet? What do you believe? What do you see or think or feel that many of us have gotten caught in this drama? The beings who are always relaxed inside, free from any kind of stress, have a constant expanding perception of themselves. They know no limits to what is possible. They also know no destination other than now. I have conversations with people, and they're talking about tomorrow, or a month from now, or 2 weeks from now, or yesterday, a year ago, or 3 months ago, right? And they go, what do you think? What do you think? I say, I have no clue. I'm in the now. I practice as much as I can being in the now. Not that I am in the now all the time, because none of us are yet. And so as soon you can tell, eventually you're able to tell that you have slipped into the ego mind, which is yesterday and tomorrow, because you get a feeling. It's not a fun feeling, it's an uneasy one. But as soon as you bring yourself out of that and you're in the now again, it's gone. And it's up to you. It's up to no one else. It's up to each and every one of us how we decide to view things, how we decide to either embrace them or chuck them aside. So these are folks who are always relaxed inside, free from any kind of stress, have a constant expanding perception of themselves. They know no limits to what is possible. They also know no destination other than now. They experience no hesitation, procrastination, or postponement of their life, because the life, it's too juicy being here in the now. A stress-free being loves this life too much to be stressed out about it. Their mind does not get stuck on judgments of themselves or others and releases them by the instant they arise. They have no resistance to life's multidimensional barrage of experiences. Thus, they hold no tension in their body's nervous system. Any stressful constrictions of blood vessels caused by adrenaline rushes, doubt, fear, or anger are instantly released so they can dive deeper into more experiences of joy, love, and freedom. They simply have their priorities straight. A stress-free being isn't trying to avoid an early death because they are too consumed with loving this life, enjoying the illusion of it all, and having a great time all the way to the grave. They know that everything is always going to change, and they trust. They are always guided in this constant changing flow of life. When they connect with other people, they know it may be their last moments together, and yet are relaxed because they understand that everyone is an infinite being who will never die. Because this wisdom circulates in their thoughts, emotions, and physical body, they are constantly tapped into a perpetual flow of bliss within themselves. Stress-free people have learned one key technique, that stress is the number one signal from the body to stop whatever they are doing and let it all go. They know avoidance strategies don't work. And to ignore this signal and keep going will only cause future pain. They only want to transcend the mental prison of their ego's agenda. Even though they've practiced the art of letting go and releasing for years, they always consider themselves to be a student. They are always learning. They've truly come around to embracing their own innocence. They can see and feel that within the innermost core is this pure being They know this is the simple ecstasy everyone is seeking. People who embrace a stress-free way of life have very playful energy. This entire universe is their playground. They play with all kinds of people from all walks and worlds. They also welcome any experience they come in contact with. They know how to easily handle any negative thoughts that arise in the mind. They never take these negative things too seriously and choose instead a playful approach on the inner world as well as the outer. A stress-free being resists nothing. When negative feelings in a grumpy state enters the mind, they invite it in openly and experience the pattern it's holding fully. Everything that occurs in their mind, emotions, and body are welcomed as a guest that is here to visit for a short time. They know the bigger picture of this life, so they can welcome each thought and feeling and not get stuck in them. They see every negative thought as a small water rapid down the infinite river of life. And so they kick back and relish the ride over them. Someone who constantly lives in the stress-free zone has tapped into the truth of their being. They live each moment connected to the truth that they are an infinite being that knows no death. They know the body will come and go, yet who they are cannot be harmed or impacted by the outer world. And when you fully embrace this knowing, it is absolutely impossible for stress to exist in our world, because you realize that all outer world situations are temporary experiences that cannot touch the beauty and lightness of your being. You realize the truth, and you will be truly free. You are not this mind, nor this body. You never have been, never will be, ever beyond, and forever. You are this radiant, eternal light that cannot be dimmed in any way, shape, or form. Your true self continues to shine brightly through all of the adventures of being a human being that the mind may label as stressful. Whatever may cause your mind to feel stressed out is simply the mind being overly attached to a certain limited thought or form. When you realize the truth of who you are, the mind has to let go automatically. And you are free. Absolutely free. And remember, the meditative mind is divine mind. It is simply being here in the now. It has become so relaxed that it is actually laser focused, pointing towards mindfulness in the now. Every stress-free being will tell you there is no better moment in your life than this one that is happening right now. Meditation is a way to quiet the mind so we can see that all experiences, negative and positive, are paths for the soul to discover this higher universal source. A quiet mind can hear their intuition clearly so they can establish deeper connection with everyone in this world and manifest a much more peaceful experience of this life. A quiet mind is much easier to live with than a busy mind. Celebration, we don't see a lot of celebration, do we? With all this muck and doom and gloom and fear and worry and stress and anxiety, all generated from the ego mind. But what happens when we celebrate what is now? Attachment to our past and future is what creates the greatest amount of stress in our lives. Since this moment is the only thing that is real, choose to be constantly celebrating what is happening now. If you're experiencing a problem, celebrate it. That problem will soon be a deep, eternal love in disguise. Life is actually not about overcoming your problem and karma. It is a celebration of all opposites until there is equanimity in the mind and complete balance of emotions, which leads us into a total freedom of consciousness. How could the mind know light without shadow or depth without shallowness? The mind exists in a state of perpetual ebb and flow of the tides. Celebration of this play is what makes you a master of your life. Whatever it is that's happening in your life right now, in this very moment, there is some way you can celebrate it. There is always another door opening where one has closed. Now is that moment that is filled with life's amazing qualities. Realizing this little discovery will assist you greatly in choosing to see the miraculous instead of the mundane wherever you are. As we go through our days, pause regularly to remember this simple or simply truth. We are all eternal beings who will never, ever, ever die. We are souls in a body who will only change form. We will be reborn again if we want to or not. If we have enough awareness, we can choose to master this existence and then experience anything we want to. The infinite quality of our own being is obvious and very real. Just like the sun. Always shining, always bright, super warm. And yet the sun is a grand understatement to describe the brilliance of who we really are. When we discover the true enormity inside ourselves, everything will change. The outer world will no longer impact us in a negative, fearful way. This universe will welcome you to explore this limitless divine self everywhere you go on its playground. Whenever this stuff comes in, because it does, none of us are exempt from it, right? So anytime you start getting stressed out about something, practice celebrating what is. Simply say to yourself, I choose to celebrate existence right now. Life is just too good to not make this choice, even if you don't understand why. Look for the deep eternal love that is hidden behind this so-called problem and celebrate it as an opportunity for growth. It is your chance to quiet your mind, realize your infinite nature. Remind yourself, when you notice stress arising inside, that you are an infinite being that will not die. Notice what happens. Play with this and welcome all that life challenges you. Your job is to intimately know yourself is that which is permanent and can never be harmed, hurt, or changed. The creative process is a process of surrender, not control. That's the ego mind. Julie Cameron. We've all, I would say most of us, many of us, have created certain emotional and psychic shields as children in order to survive our childhood. These walls were necessary at that time to protect us and keep us safe, our physical bodies. Yet, as adults, if these barriers are still up, they are blocking you from feeling love, compassion, and intimacy with others. These walls are also stopping you from manifesting true financial freedom, abundance, and even profound health into your life. When you feel stuck in your relationships with others, money or yourself in any way, it's because your brilliant light is still hiding behind one of these old, heavy, unnecessary shields. We carry with us, lifetime to lifetime, many things. We don't know it. We have no clue. Sometimes you'll plug into it and say, that didn't come from this lifetime. I know it came from one of my other lifetimes. You'll know it. Now you may ask, aren't there some situation where it's good to protect myself? That's a fair question. Well, it all depends on how spiritually advanced you are and what lessons you're still needing to learn. Now, when you know you are an infinite being that will never, ever, ever, ever die, then I ask this question: what is there to defend? That which is real cannot be harmed, so why protect it? Yet, when you're still healing wounds inside the ego and creating an identity that needs certain boundaries, then it will feel blatantly obvious there is something that needs protection. You may need to be as strong as a mountain to stand up for your rights in order to one day let them go. Yet 99.99% of the time, you're not surrounded by angry, hungry tigers. And this defense mechanism is just an old unconscious habit blocking all of us from total liberation. The need to defend ourselves is what actually makes our ego appear real. The ego, however, is like our shadow, right? We all have a shadow. You've done that before. Have you ever seen, you'd look at your shadow? Right? How ridiculous would it be that you're out and about and you see someone protecting their shadow from getting touched by sunlight? That's how ridiculous it is. This is how you look when you defend your ego. Imagine a bunch of people trying to defend their shadows from getting sunlight on them. When you want to become a super conscious, awakened spiritual being, stop protecting your ego. What are some examples of that with us as a people? Someone might say, or say to you, oh, look what I've got, or they're showing you something, right? And you feel this urge to kind of like almost countermand that. Oh, yeah, well, I have this and this. You know how much I paid for this? All ego. It's all ego. wow, you've got a lot of nice things here. And then some of us will feel inferior, failures, all ego. It's all ego crap. All you got to do is have that image of watching people, okay, not judging them, watching them, how silly and ridiculous it is to try to protect your shadow from sunlight. That's what's like protecting your ego. Any type of defending that we do with ourselves is just coming from a place of fear, insecurity, and weakness. Defensivelessness is about doing no harm on any level to any being. It's not about being weak, meek, soft. It is truly living from a place of peace with all beings and will only manifest peaceful situations. Whenever we get upset or triggered by others, do this simple technique. Okay? Become like a flute that is hollow and light. Allow your breath to flow through you and your triggered feelings. Who knows? Their negative words may start to sound like music to your new ears. Even if you are in a long-term relationship and have been hearing sour notes for years, simply allow that song to play on through. Breathe into it, through it, and let your body feel it, and eventually release it. So this is an invitation for all of us. We invite you to make the choice right now to never protect or defend your ego again. And ask yourself this: who am I defending? What shadow self is here? And is this aspect real or imaginary? And the more we investigate what needs to be defended, the more we realize these are all only small, helpless, powerless voices from our past. It may be the same voice your parents or siblings had. If you need to, then feel this need to defend these shadow parts and then let it go. The greater your defense is, the more suffering enters your body, and you'll soon be forced to let go because you are playing into that which is not real. An illusion created by the ego mind, which is also an illusion. This universe will not let us buy into this defensive energy for very long because the imaginary always moves to the real. It's easier to see the deeper lessons that this life is teaching us once we become an unobstructed channel of awareness. The more we can let down our defenses, the more receptive we can become to the abundance and divine power all around us and inside of us. The truth is that there is really no reason to be guarded at all. Who we truly are can never be hurt by the outer world. It is only the ego self that believes it can be harmed, hurt, and destroyed. The timeless infinite consciousness that we are cannot be touched by anyone or anything, ever. As an eternal radiant being, we are impervious to attacks from the outer world. This infinite beingness has never been harmed by vicious words or energy. All negative energy passes right through without touching the beauty of our timeless consciousness. And as we awaken more and more and more to this realization, we will automatically notice the silliness and uselessness of holding any walls up with anyone. These walls block the love from flowing between us, you. Once you see this, You will naturally take these walls down and let the brilliant light of your infinite nature shine through. Join me in the meditation. I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. And an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Be still. There's an angelic essence for every one of us. Can you smell the divine scent of who you are? Take a deep breath and relax into you. Inhale that sweetness that is the essence of your innermost being. Your spirit is sweeter than the most precious flower, and a tiny waft of this inner aroma can instantly lift the biggest problems in this world. Let your angelic, your special angelic fragrance out of the bottle today. Whenever you get a little, it's a scent that every now and then we'll pick up, okay? And some it may smell like a real sweet perfume or something very nice, like a lavender or something, or combination. That's actually the essence of you giving that off, the fragrance. So you uncork the bottle and let it flow outward. Take this with you for the rest of the day into the evening and night the following morning. We will return here Wednesday, April 3, 2024, around 3:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our global guided meditation call. And around 9 p.m. Eastern to continue our Time for Change call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest, eternal gratitude at all times. No matter what's happening around you or within you.